It was nearly 6 p.m. on a quiet Friday evening when I heard the soft creak of the floorboards in the hallway. I paused mid-step in my small kitchen, a wooden spoon hovering over a pot of slowly simmering tomato soup. The sound was faint, almost like the memory of something rather than something real. Still, it startled me. I live alone. Have lived alone for the past 12 years. My name is Eleanor Whitmore. I'm 68 years old and have grown rather fond of solitude, not in the lonely, melancholic way some imagine, but in the peaceful, steady kind of way that comes with time and acceptance. But that sound, that unfamiliar sound, it didn't belong. For a moment I stood there, my heart slowly picking up pace. I tried to recall. Had I locked the door when I came in from the garden earlier? I was certain I had. Or maybe just confident I should have. But confidence isn't fact. I set the spoon down gently and wiped my hands on a tea towel. There was no fear yet, just a kind of careful alertness that comes with age. I made my way down the hallway, my bare feet making no sound against the cool hardwood. I reached the entryway and saw the door. Closed, yes. But the lock? Unturned. My hand hovered over it. Maybe it was just my mind playing tricks on me. Maybe it was the house settling. But even as I reassured myself, I turned the lock with a slow click, as if even that small sound could shift the balance of something I didn't yet understand. That night, sleep came slowly. The next morning, I found muddy footprints on the inside mat. Not mine. My heart stopped for a moment. They weren't recent, just slightly smudged, but I knew with painful clarity that they didn't belong to me. My shoes were always left by the back porch. I didn't call anyone. Not yet. I told myself again that maybe I was overthinking, maybe I had stepped out and forgotten. Maybe the rain had blown dirt through the door. But deep down I knew better. Something had changed in the house. I started locking all the doors, even during the day. I checked the windows twice. I began sleeping with my bedside lamp on. Not because I was scared, at least, that's what I told myself, but because I wanted to see, in case something returned. The days that followed were odd. I noticed little things. A book slightly shifted from where I remembered placing it. A blanket unfolded. Once, I found a teacup in the sink that I didn't remember using. I wasn't losing my mind. I journaled everything. Every night before bed, I wrote down how I'd left the house, what I'd used, where things were. It became a ritual. One meant to prove that I wasn't just imagining things. I needed that confirmation. Proof that this house wasn't turning into a stranger around me. Then one afternoon, I found something that made me sit down right on the floor and tremble. It was a note, folded neatly and placed under the cushion of my armchair. Just 6 words. You don't lock me out anymore. My throat closed. My hands shook as I read and reread those words. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. But I did neither. Instead, I placed the note back under the cushion, exactly as I had found it, and walked straight to the kitchen. I made myself tea, because I needed to be calm before I did what came next. I called the police finally. They came, searched the house, found no one. Took the note, dusted it. Promised to patrol more frequently. I thanked them. But I knew. Whoever had been here was not finished. They hadn't taken anything. They hadn't hurt me. Not yet. But they had entered my space. My quiet, sacred world. And that kind of violation changes something inside you. I stopped sleeping in the bedroom. I moved into the living room. I kept the curtains drawn. I installed cameras. I learned to use pepper spray. At 68 years old, I was learning a kind of vigilance I had never imagined I'd need. And then, weeks later, just when the silence had started to return to normal, there was a knock. It was mid-morning. I was folding laundry, the sunlight filtering through the curtains. The knock was gentle, almost polite. I checked the peephole. No one. I opened the door slowly. Nothing but a white envelope on the doormat. Inside another note. Don't worry. I'm done watching. No name. No threat. Just the worst kind of message. The one that made it clear they'd been close. That they had seen me. That night, I cried. I allowed myself the full storm of it. The shaking, the fear, the confusion. And then slowly I rebuilt. Not because I had a choice, but because I had earned this home, this life, this peace. Over time, I opened the windows again. I gardened. I played my music loud. I laughed with my daughter on the phone. I invited my neighbor in for tea. The fear began to fade. Not because it had vanished, but because I had learned to hold it differently. Some trespasses don't leave scars. They leave a shadow. But even shadows retreat when you decide to face the light. And I choose the light. Every single time.